Hey everyone, good morning. Let's start with today's session and let's see what exactly we're doing today. Today we are starting with a new tool called Ansible. Now before we jump on to start knowing more about Ansible, let's understand why do we need it at first place. Why can't we do the same stuff using some different way? Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my screen. Perfect. Ansible. Now what do we know about Ansible, guys? What is Ansible? If I ask you to define me Ansible, what would you say? Yeah, we got limited people, but still we can get answer, correct? Victoria and all.
Configuration management.
Yeah.
Okay. And others?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well. So configuration management tool.
Okay. So let's think of a configuration management as like setting up some sort of Apache on a server, restarting the service, setting up config.xml files and things like this. That is what configuration management is all about, correct? Can we not achieve this by using shell script? Why or PowerShell script or Python script? Why do we need Ansible for doing all this additional tool? What do you think? Why do we need this? We can do this easily by writing a simple shell script. You can do the exact same stuff using a shell script. Okay, if it's a
Mm.
Linux machine, shell script. If it's Windows, PowerShell. And if you are aware of Python, Python can also do this. Python has lots of modules, lots of packages which can even do configuration management for you. Why why an additional tool adding to your bucket, getting added to your bucket? What could be the possible reason? Anyone?
Ansible's good at like tracking like the state of the machine. If there's like a change in the configuration, we can like fix it somehow. Mm.
Well try, but no, Ansel is not doing any such tracking. Anyone else wants to add something to it? Why do we need Ansible? Very simple reason, guys. For writing shell script, you should know shell scripting. Okay, shell scripting is not an easy task that you just go and start writing it. You should know coding language for that. Same goes with Python, same goes with PowerShell. And it's complicated. Like if you have written any shell script for doing something, your other colleague may not understand what exactly you have written. Till the time you don't explain the flow, the logic behind it. So it's complicated. If you are very versed with shell scripting, you can definitely do things which Ansible can do. Okay. But for that, you need to have knowledge of shell scripting. That's very important. Correct. Secondly, it's not that simple. You need to write all sort of logic. You need to explain others what exactly you have written in case of handing when you're handing over things to them. Third, you require Ansible because Ansible is very simple and a very powerful tool. Ansible will take out all this hard work of yours of writing the shell script, which you need to possess that experience and knowledge for even to write that shell script and the Python script. Ansible will take out all this hard work. Ansible is very simple, very easy to use tool, and very easily it can be installed anywhere. Plus, Ansible is agentless. So if you want to execute some task on 100 different servers, now if you're using a shell script, if you want to execute something on 100 different servers, what you will do, you will copy those script on all those 100 different servers, then you go and manually execute it. Correct? That is what you will do. Or you will try to automate with some other way using pipeline or whatever way you think of. But with Ansible, there's no agent running on any of your target machine. You got one administrative machine where your Ansible is installed. You have created an inventory file. What is inventory? That is something we'll discuss later, don't worry. So in that inventory, you have listed all those 100 servers that on all these 100 servers, I want to install Apache. The only thing Ansible require is SSH connection. Port 22 needs to be opened and SSH connection that you're able to SSH to those servers. That's the only thing Ansible requires. And once the connection is established, once everything is done, you can install Apache, you can do configuration management on all those 100 servers within a minute. Ansible can go and process all those servers for you at once. That's a different story that you need to have that kind of configuration. Okay, that powerful Ansible is. Ansible is simple, powerful configuration management tool. So in an interview, why did I ask such question? Why do you need Ansible? This will definitely an interview question. Why do we need Ansible? Why can't we do things using shell scripting, PowerShell, or Python scripting? Why do we need Ansible? So we all know now why Ansible is required. Okay. One sec. Okay, let's start. Why do we need Ansible? For provisioning, configuration management, continuous delivery, application deployment, security compliances. These are some more additional. You can do provisioning with Ansible. You can do configuration management with Ansible. That is the core responsibility of Ansible. You can do continuous delivery. Like if you want to deploy something on, like if there is a package created, an artifact created, and you want to deploy that artifact on end servers, you can do that also with Ansible. Application deployment, if you want to deploy an application with Ansible, that is quite possible. And security compliances. This is all done using in a secure way. Now, as I said, when you write a script, if you want to replace things with a scripting, it is time consuming. Firstly, you need to write the script, you need to take out time and you need to go and write the script. Like suppose if you want to write a script for installing Apache, restarting Apache server, making index.html file changes, all this, at least 10 minutes of time. If you're a very high skilled developer, then at least you will need 10 minutes of time. Ansible, within a minute, you can write playbook or you can run through ad hoc commands and you can do the same stuff within a minute. Less than a minute, I would say. Okay. Coding skills is required very much. If you're writing scripts, if you want to replace Ansible with all the scripting language, then you need to have the coding skills. And plus, along the time, you need to maintain the script, because script may get outdated. You need to maintain with newer version and things like that. So these are the things which you require. On the other hand, Ansible is very simple, powerful, and agentless too. When I say simple, the installation is very simple. You can install Ansible on Linux machine and you can even work on Windows also. Okay, so basically Ansible is a Linux native application, guys. Though it is working on Windows nowadays, but it is a Linux native application. Ansible can pass on your commands to Linux machine, to Windows machine, to all these machines also. Okay. Now this is why we require Ansible. Okay. Now let's go and let me show you a Word document. As I said, Ansible is a configuration management, deployment, and orchestration tool. Why do we call this orchestration? That is something we'll understand when we write playbooks. At that time, I'll explain you why do we call this orchestration. It is a push-based configuration management tool. What do I mean by push-based? So this is a very simple Ansible workflow. Okay, Ansible management node. This is nothing but this is a VM, and all this host, these are VMs. Okay, so management node is where your Ansible is installed. Okay, where you have your Ansible installed and working. That is what the management node is all about. Okay, and the host machine is your nothing but these are your target machine. So from your management node through SSH, So that is the connection of what is required for connecting to the target machines. So if you are able to do SSH, if the nodes are within the network, if you are able to do SSH, the connection is established. Nothing else is required. You don't need to go and set up Ansible on these machines. Ansible will be only installed at this place, and only through SSH connection the push will be happening. Okay, now if you want to do any changes, like suppose you want to install Nginx, so you will be writing, so there are multiple ways you can write through ad hoc commands, you can write a playbook, and all this I'll talk about later. So that command will get executed on your management node, and that will be pushed to this host machine. That is the reason we call it as, it is a host based configuration management tool. It automates your entire IT infrastructure by providing large productivity gains. It will automate your entire IT infrastructure, guys. Okay. Feature, it's simple, agentless, powerful, efficient. This is very simple. I'll show you. Ansible is not that difficult tool. It's a very simple, straightforward tool. The only thing is you need to understand what to use when. Okay. This is what Ansible workflow is all about. Now, along with Ansible is open source, guys. Ansible is available for free. You can go and download Ansible from Ansible website and you can start using Ansible. But as I said, everything's or whatever free tool you have in the market, open source tool, not I will not call free. Whatever open source tool you have in the market, some or other company they tend to sell the enterprise version of the tool also. Same goes with Ansible. In Ansible, we got something called as Ansible Tower. Okay, Ansible Tower is like Ansible. It's more like enterprise version. So Ansible Tower is a license which is managed and maintained by Red Hat. Red Hat is selling this enterprise uh, agreement of Ansible. So what exactly is Ansible Tower? Ansible Tower is nothing but like when you use Ansible, that is from the command line. Okay, you install Ansible, you write the playbook, so you do all the stuff from the command line. Basically, you do the management part for Ansible when you're using the open source version. Ansible's Tower, they have very good looking GUI. That's a application they have created wherein you do everything from the screen. So you have a very good looking graphical user interface wherein it will manage your inventory, it will manage your playbook, it will see the health of the target machines, many things it provides. It will give you the real-time job status. It can run multi-layer playbooks for you. It can scale out. So this is the dashboard, a very good looking dashboard which is given to you with Ansible Tower. So if you know Ansible well, Ansible Tower is not a big deal for you guys. It's just the things which you're doing from the command line. Now the same thing you need to do it from the GUI. Okay. This is again not free, guys. This comes with enterprise level agreement, which is rightly provided by Red Hat. Okay. Red Hat is providing. The way Red Hat has occupied CentOS and they have given the name as Red Hat, the same thing, Ansible, known as Ansible Tower. The same thing with Kubernetes. We know OpenShift, correct? What is OpenShift? OpenShift is built on top of Kubernetes, correct? If you know Kubernetes, OpenShift is not a big deal for you. Okay, that is something we'll talk about later. That is what Ansible Tower is. These are the features of Ansible Tower. Here you get a dashboard, real-time job, scheduling job, and many things. Okay. Now, along with Ansible, there are other tools in the market which does the exact same thing. Why do we learn Ansible then in that case? We have other tools, correct? We got Chef, we got Puppet. Why Ansible then? Okay. Now, Chef Puppet does the exact same thing what Ansible does, correct? But Chef Puppet, they are not that straightforward and they are not that simple like Ansible. Plus, Ansible is agentless, and Chef Puppet, you need to go and install agent on your target machine. That's an additional task which you are, if you're using all this, then these are the additional tasks which you have to do beforehand. So Ansible runs with a single active node called the primary instance. If the primary goes down, the secondary instance takes place. Same goes with when there is a failure in the primary, the chef backup server takes place. So it's the same thing, the same concept. Easy to set up. Ansible has only one master server running. On the other hand, chef has master agent, master server on master. So these are the different services which you need to make sure that it is running on all the servers. Management. Ansible configuration can be written with very simple YAML language. YAML, we have seen it. It's a very simple, straightforward, easy to write language, wherein Chef and Puppet depends on Ruby DSL and Puppet depends on Puppet DSL. So these are the languages which you need to go. DSL is nothing but it's a domain specific language that particularly belongs to that particular tool. So it's not that getting used highly elsewhere. So if you're using Chef, you should know what is Ruby DSL is all about. Okay. Ansible uses YAML. It is quite easy to learn and it is easy to administer. Chef uses Ruby's domain specific. It has steep learning curve. So you need to have a good developer skill set in order to learn this. Okay. Pricing. So if you go with Ansible Tower, this is the pricing for 100 nodes. This is somewhere around 10,000 per year, and wherein this is per node charges for Chef and Puppet. Chef and Puppet are not free, guys. They are chargeable. So this is a quick comparison between Ansible, Chef, and Puppet. Okay. So the major comparison is Ansible is agentless. Chef Puppet is not agentless. Ansible uses YAML, which is straightforward and easy to learn and write configuration language, wherein Chef Puppet uses DSL. That is a domain specific language. Okay. Ansible is simple to install and work with. Chef Puppet is not that simple to install and work with. Okay. So quick comparison between why do we use Ansible, why not Chef Puppet. Okay. Let's go back to the PPT. Anyone, any questions, any doubt? Just give me one quick minute, guys. I'll reshare my screen. In the meanwhile, anyone has any questions now? No one? Okay. Let me share the screen again. Okay. So this is, we have seen it. What exactly, why do we need Ansible? Now, let's move on to Ansible inventory. So before I move on to Ansible inventory, let's go and set up Ansible first. So what I'll do to make things simple and user friendly, what I'll do, I'll go to the cloud, I'll launch a VM, a simple VM, a small compute VM, and we'll set up Ansible on top of it. Okay, so we'll set up the master node. I'll not set couple of machines for now. For today, I'll just stick with one single machine. That single machine will work as a master node for me, and it will work as a target machine also for me. So the same machine I'll be using for both the purpose. Okay. The same thing, whatever I do, the exact same thing needs to be done if you have other set of machines. Okay. So don't worry, later I'll show you with couple of machines. For today, we'll focus on one VM, wherein we'll go and set up Ansible. Okay, I could have set this up on Windows also, but in reality, when you work with Ansible, you will not work on Windows. 101% of time you'll be setting up Ansible on Linux only. So that's why, just to give you the real-time use case, I'm setting up things on Linux machine. Okay. Let's review and create. So I'm creating a Ubuntu 18.04 You can do this on 2004 also. 2204 also is supported. 1604 is supported. CentOS is also supported. So mostly all the Debian and things are supported, guys. So there's no issue. What is the error? That's okay. Let's wait while it is getting created. Okay, how do we set up Ansible? Let's go to the official website of Ansible. So we are using Ubuntu. Ansible installation on Ubuntu. Ubuntu typo. Okay, so I have to go to the official. I'm not going to any third-party website. Go to the official website of Ansible, guys. It is very well written. Now, if you see, setting up Ansible on Fedora, CentOS, Ubuntu, Debian, Windows. So which one we are using? Ubuntu. So this is the only step which you need to go and run. Updating your local repo, installing software properties, adding a repo with PPA. So this is a local repo, private package which you're managing over here, Ansible. Once that is done, installing Ansible. That's it. These are the only steps which you need to execute in order to set up Ansible from scratch. Okay, let's wait while the VM is coming up. Okay, the VM is up. Let's use bash to connect to this VM. Okay, SSH. Perfect. So I'm connected. It's not that high config VM, guys. I just got one vCPU and two GB of RAM. That's it. It's very simple, low cost VM. It's falls under free tier, so you'll not even get charged if you're using this VM. So just make sure once you're done with your practice, remove this VM. Don't keep the VM hanging. Okay, once you're done, because it hardly takes 1 or 2 minutes to launch a VM. So if you want to try it again later, create a new VM. That is the practice which you need to follow. Okay, so let's go and set up Ansible. Let's do an app update. Perfect. The other command was app install software properties common. Done. Let me go and copy paste. Perfect. So we have added this new links. Now let's go and install Ansible. So it is app install Ansible. Ansible is a Python based application, guys. So Ansible is dependent on Python. So if you don't have Python installed, so Ansible, while installing Ansible, Ansible will go and install Python as well. Now, if you see this, these are additional packages. The following additional packages will be installed. So all these packages are getting installed. Python, which is Python related. Jinja 2, this is for use for Ansible templating in variables. So these are all the additional packages. It is getting installed along with Ansible. Okay. See, unpacking Ansible. Okay, so Ansible is installed. How do we verify? Quick Ansible version. Wait, Ansible hyphen version. Okay, so we got 2.9.27. This is where Ansible is installed. This is the version of Ansible. This is the location where all the Ansible configuration is there. You got the host file and many things over here. And this part, these are the places where all the modules are there. So what exactly modules and everything is, we'll talk about that later. And this is where the Ansible is residing. The packages are residing. Okay. Now, if you go and look into this file, etc Ansible, there are multiple things which you will find over here. Firstly, this is your Ansible configuration. Okay. Second important file is the host. This is where the default inventory. Now, when I say inventory, what exactly is inventory? Inventory is nothing but your target machine. Inventory is nothing but your target machine, which you will be targeting using Ansible for making configuration changes, like whatever changes you want to do. Okay, so using this inventory you will be targeting, so those information will be kept inside this file. You can, this is the default location. If you want to have a custom location, even that is possible, but yeah, this is the default location which you will be targeting, wherein you will keep all the server details. Or when I say inventory, this is nothing but your server details, your server IP, either the IP or either the domain name, or either if there's any group created, anything as such, that information will come over here. This is roles. So this is basically talking about Ansible roles. This is something I'll talk about later. For now, let's go and see what exactly this file is. Okay, let me open. I'll make use of VI. This is how the file looks like, guys. This is how. So you can give your domain name either with this domain name green.example.com, or you can even use your IP over here. So this is ungrouped host. So basically there's no grouping. This is one single host, something you have defined over here. Okay, there's no grouping. Now when you do grouping, like suppose there are n number of DBA servers, n number of web servers, n number of middleware servers, and if you want to target the configuration change to all the web servers, so will you go and do it one at a time? No. So that is where you will use the grouping method. So this is how grouping happens. This is all commented right now. This nothing will work. This is just an example which is showing over here. This is how grouping happens. So this all servers, alpha.example.org, beta. And this IPs are grouped together as a web server. Now when you're running Ansible commands, you will be targeting this web server. Okay, so what will happen eventually, whatever changes you're doing, all the changes will be applicable to all these four servers. In this case, it will not be applicable because you have defined as a single host. You're not done any sort of grouping or anything as such. So you'll be targeting single host at a time. Okay. In this grouping, all the four servers will be targeted in parallel. Okay. Keep that in mind with the grouping. Ansible also supports, this host also support pattern matching. If you have anything as such pattern, like your suppose your domain name is starting with www.001.example.com till 0010. If you have anything as such, even that kind of things are supported over here. Collection of DB servers. So these are the DB list of DB servers. Okay. So this is how you will be defining host in your host file. Now this is the default location. etc Ansible host is the default location where you can go and define your host file. Okay. Now I can go and define my host file. I can just go and edit this, and I can go and define my host file. So as of now, I don't have any host, correct guys? I have no host. So I'll be using this machine as a management node as well as target machine also. Okay. So I'll show you how do we connect, how do we make changes to this target machine. So this is where I am. I'm on the local host right now, correct? So this is how I'll define local host. That's it. What do I mean by local host? That means I want to whatever changes I want to do, I want to do it on my local machine only. So my host name will be local host. Suppose if you have any other VM, that VM IP will come over here. I can even use this IP. I have a public IP, correct? I can go and use this IP also. It's the same thing. But because I'm on the local machine right now, so let's stick with local host. I'm on the same machine right now. So I have defined my host file and I have created local host in my host file. Okay, let's save this and let's save and close it. And let's go back to the PPT and let's understand inventory. So inventory defines the management nodes you automate with groups, so you can run automate tasks on the multiple hosts at the same time. So you can do the grouping. This is the default location of inventory file. This is how, if you want individual inventory mention, this is how you will do it. If you want to do a grouping like mailing server, DB server, web server, this is how the grouping happens. And there are multiple inventory parameters such as Ansible connection. What type of connection is it? SSH, WinRM. WinRM is for Windows, local host, port 22. Do you want to have a 22? Because Ansible listens on port 22 by default, but port 22 is very generic, guys. Correct? Port 22 is a very generic port, and you will have security issues if you're using such generic ports. So if you want to have some custom ports such as 5986, 3389, anything as such, so 3389, that is for RTP, guys, you cannot use it. But if you want to have some generic ports which is unknown, then you can even use with this flag. You can have all these parameters defined inside your Ansible inventory. What kind of user you want to use it? It's an Ansible user if you want to define. If you want to pass in the password, then these are some inventory parameters which you can use it. For Linux, it is SSH. For Windows, it is PowerShell remoting. This is the method which is used for connecting to Windows machine. Linux, it is SSH, and for Windows, it is PowerShell remoting. Keep that in mind, okay? Now I have created my inventory file as a local host. That looks perfect. Now let me test it if I am able to run my Ansible commands. Let's come to the home directory. Okay, if I'm able to run my commands. Okay, so there are two ways you can run and you can manage Ansible. One is imperative way, the second is declarative way. Now let's understand what is imperative and declarative before I go and start showing you all the Ansible commands. Imperative way of doing is nothing but it's a way of running ad hoc commands. What is ad hoc? Ad hoc is nothing but it's on request. Whenever you get an immediate request, like suppose you are an administrator, Ansible administrator, you got a request that please can you check the CPU and memory utilization on DB servers. That's a ad hoc request which you got. So immediately you went ahead and executed the command from the management node. Correct? You have used the ad hoc command and you have immediately went ahead and you have executed the command. You got the output. You have shared the output with others. Do you have any records? What command did you execute it? Like if you log out from that terminal and if you come back to that terminal, will you even come to know what command did you execute? The answer is no. There's no record. The only record is if you go and look into your terminal history, you will find out, okay, I have executed this command. That's it. So ad hoc commands are very useful from administrative purpose. If you want to administer something, you want to check something, if you want to see if the packages are installed, if you see if the services are running, if you want to see what is the CPU utilization, immediately if you want to see something, then at that time ad hoc command. These ad hoc commands are known as imperative way of declaration. Imperative commands. These are temporary in nature. This cannot be used if you want to set up something for production, because there's no true copy getting created. There's nothing as a configuration getting created anywhere. You just run the command from your command line. That's it. That is what imperative approach is. So imperative is very good, simple, and it is very powerful, but this cannot be used if you're setting up something in production. If you're making changes something in production, this can be only used as a administrative purpose for doing some sort of small things. Okay. Now on the other side, declarative approach is nothing but you declare everything. Like if you want to install Apache, so you write a configuration file, you write, I want to install Apache, I want to restart Apache server, I want to make index configuration changes to the index.html file, post that I want to again restart the server. So this is what you're writing, all the steps inside a configuration file. That is the configuration. As we all know, Ansible configuration files are written in YAML. It's very simple, easy to understand. Now, what is the benefit of using declarative approach? Now, declarative approach, you have a configuration copy. Tomorrow, if there's any changes, you simply go and look into the configuration copy. You come to know, okay, what all things I have done already, what changes I need to do. You just go and make changes, amendment to the modification to the existing configuration copy. You can maintain that configuration copy. You can share that configuration copy with others. By seeing the configuration, you can easily find out what exactly we have done. That is what Ansible is all about. So two ways of managing Ansible. One is using declarative approach, wherein you write the configuration. That is known as playbooks, guys. That is something we'll discuss in detail. What is playbook? Second is imperative way, wherein you run through the ad hoc commands. Okay. Now we'll focus on ad hoc today. We'll see how we run through the ad hoc commands. What are the different commands and things you can run through? Okay. So how do we execute the ad hoc command? I have the inventory. The first thing is inventory is set. Now, if I want to SSH, can we do SSH? Just to verify if there is a no issue with the connection. Let me put in the password. Okay, I'm able to log in. So perfect. There's no issue with the connection. I'm able to log into my local host. Okay. So there's SSH happening right now. But this is the connectivity check you need to do before you go and execute any sort of commands, guys. Okay. Now let's go and run the ad hoc command. So ad hoc command is basically this is the syntax. You need to start with Ansible. Okay. You need to define the host. Now, what is a host? You need to define this local host you have defined. You can write local host over here, or else if you want to execute everything inside localhost, everything inside host file, then you can use all. Okay. Then you can use module. So there are different set of predefined, pre-created modules with Ansible. So it got multiple modules which can do n number of tasks for you. These are the modules. So Ansible has a rich set of modules. I'll show you the module list. Using those modules, you can do almost all the tasks on at your OS level. You can create a copy, you can create a directory, you can write a script, you can run the CPU check, run the commands, you can do n number of things. So we'll be using those modules over here. Now with -m, those modules can be called with -m. These are the way you will be calling those modules. And what modules do you want to call? So for just for testing purpose, I'm calling the ping module. So with this ping module, what it will do, it will quickly go and do the ping pong. It will go and check if all the connections are good. Are we able to connect to the machine, the host machine? So Ansible all -m ping. -m is for calling the module and ping. Okay. Now I got this error. Now Ansible is a very good tool. It will give you a clear, crisp error, and you will, by reading through the error, you will know what exactly you have done wrong. Now if you see this error, what exactly it says? Failed to connect to the host via SSH. See how it is trying to connect. Root at localhost. Permission denied. Public key password not found. So my host machine has a user ID password, guys, correct? It is not that you can directly connect to my machine. You need to provide in the user ID and the password for connecting to the machine. How do you do it? So in such cases, what you need to do, you need to go back to the host file, that is ect ansible host, come down to the local host where you have defined the local host, and over here we need to define some host variables. I need to define some host variables such as Ansible users. So which user it is? DevOps mailer, correct? Ansible user DevOps mailer. Now I don't want to pass in the password. If I want to pass the password, I can do it over here itself. Ansible SSH pass, and I can give the password in a plain text file. That is not secure. I don't want to pass in the password over here. So how can I do it? I can, this is done. Now what I can do when I'm running this Ansible ping command, over here, I'll be passing the password with a flag called -k. -k will, when you put this -k, it will ask you for the password before executing this command. It will prompt you for the password. We have already defined the user. Now it will prompt you for a password when you put -k. See this. It is asking for SSH password now. I'll go and put in my VM password. See this working? Localhost success, Ansible fact discovered, change ping pong. Ping pong is happening. That means the host is reachable now. So this is kind of a connectivity check which you have done, testing if your whatever details you have mentioned in your inventory file, it's good. Now if you don't want to pass this -k, guys, because you may say, yeah, it's very time consuming to put in password for how many, like I have 100 hosts, how can I pass passwords for 100 hosts? Acceptable. You can have the password defined over here. Ansible SSH password, then you can have your password. This is my password. Now this is not, as I said earlier, this is not, you're doing a security breach, you're passing in the password in a plain text, which is not acceptable. Okay, there are other way around. How do we pass password and things like that? But for now, even this is possible. This is how you will be passing variables, host variables. These are host variables. You can also pass port. If you don't want to connect on port 22, you want to connect to some other port, you can also have those port defined over here. Okay, now let's run the Ansible command without -k option. Working perfect. Now this is when you are using the default, what you're using, the default host file, that is etc ansible host. Now in many cases you may not use that. In many cases this is the default location. Let me copy this entirely. In many cases you may not do this. You want to have your own host file created. So can I create my own host file? Let's have my own host file. Vi host, I'm creating my own host file, copy pasted the entire thing, the local host Ansible. Will this work? Will this work? So the answer is yes. The only thing is you need to pass in the host file. With this flag -i stands for inventory, and with inventory, pass in the where exactly the host file is. pass in the path. So I'm in the same directory right now. So I just give the name of the file and run it. Perfect. So this is what we have done it. Now
How
this
it's
is,
possible to manage the same host file at the same location?
no, it's not in the same location. It's two different locations. I am right now in the root, and that default host file is a etc ansible host. That's two
Okay,
different
okay, oh,
locations.
thanks.
No problem.
Quick question. If
Yeah.
you don't use a password and you're using a certificate, can you still use this method of like
Yeah. So there is way of, if you're using Linux machine, there is a way of private key, public key, which you can use to connect. Even that is possible. Password is because I have connected to this machine using user ID password. Remember when I set up this machine at the initial on the portal, I've used a user ID and password. But if you want to connect using private key and public key, even that is possible. That is something we'll see later. Okay. I'm planning to integrate Ansible with Azure DevOps. That was a request raised yesterday. So at that time, I'll show you that private public key concept also. Okay, don't worry. So this is one of the module, ping module, which we have used. Let's go and look into what are the different set of modules which we have and what all things we can do with Ansible. Okay. Similarly, we got something called shell module. Shell module is basically, it will give you a shell kind of environment wherein you can go and pass on whatever command you want. Like shell, this is a shell where I am logged in right now. This black screen which you see, I am logged into a shell, correct? This is a shell, guys, correct? Hope everyone knows it. I'm logged into a shell. Bin bash, this is a shell, correct? Now same thing, using this shell module, you'll get this shell which you can go and execute whatever commands you want. Like if you want to run ls, I'm able to run ls. Okay, if you want to create a file, so I can do a touch and create a file and things like that. So let's use the shell module. So the command is ansible. I'll be using my custom host file which I've created. So -i host and then -m, which module I want to use, shell module. Then -a. -a basically will take module arguments. If you want to pass in any module argument, like which shell module, what are the argument do you want to pass? Like what exactly do you want to do? So that information comes in single inverted comma. Make sure it is single, don't make it double. Double is like taking inputs. Single inverted comma will take the argument and it will go and execute that argument for you. So like if you want to run something called touch home DevOps mailer and I want to create a test.txt file, something like this. Mm, did we do some mistake? Wait, error too much pattern. Ansible spelling, we are not doing typo, correct? Just write it again, Ansible. Let's use the default host file for now. -m shell -a ls. Yeah, I'm getting an output. Maybe some typo. Okay, let do a touch home DevOps. This is the home directory, guys, for the user which we have created. Then I can have test.txt. Done. How do we verify if that is created? I can run the ls command again. Ls home DevOps mailer. Do you see this test.txt file got created? The same thing if you want to verify, exit out of this root You're in the home directory right now of this user. See this test.txt file. This is all the shell command. Basically, you can go and execute all the shell command with this shell module. And number of things you can do, like if you want to run top command. Top is basically will be giving you information related to your CPU and things like that. So this is top command. This will take time because executing the top command from Ansible. Or let's run some small commands. Don't run this. Let's run say free -m. This will give you memory information. This will give you memory information. So we have 2 GB of memory. As of now, it is getting used 254. Free is 952. So this is giving you memory information. If you want to have CPU information, you can have nproc. See how many CPUs do we have? If you want to have your what are the different OS running in? You can do cat etc. The path is OS release. I believe I'm entering the right path. Yeah. See Ubuntu 1804. Now this is I'm running on. Just imagine. Don't imagine this as a local host. The same thing. You can go and have 10 VMs created, and you can group it, and you can do the SSH connection, and post that you can execute the exact same command on those 10 VMs also. As if now I've not created, but tomorrow's session I'll have one more VM created wherein I'll show you. It's the exact same thing, nothing will differ. The only difference will be in place of local host, you'll be either giving the domain name or you'll giving a public IP. That's it. That is the only difference you will find out. As if now we are doing practice, so it's better. We can play around with the same VM. Okay, so you can do n number of things with shell commands. Just keep that in mind. Now, along with shell, we got copy module also. All these modules, guys, you don't need to remember any of these. Just go and look for Ansible modules. That's it. All modules. Do you see this? This is the list of modules. And on the left hand side, you can see all the modules over here. You got cloud module, clustering modules, command modules, crypto, files, database. Now, which one we were using? Shell, correct? Now, the next is, which we will be using is, let's have file modules. File modules can do ACL, archive, copy. So this is the copy which I was talking about. Let me show you the copy module. If you go inside it, you will get more information how to use it. With copy, what all things you can do. These are the parameters. -a. These are the things which you can destination, source, and these are the things you can do with this copy module. Let me show you this copy module for now. Okay. What do I want to copy? I want to copy. Let me create something over here. Let me create an index file. Index.html. I'm creating a HTML file. Welcome to Ansible. Okay. Course. A simple HTML file. If I run this HTML file, what will happen? Oh, sorry. If I just run this HTML file, I'll get this output. Welcome to Ansible course. Okay, perfect. Now, what do I want? I want to copy which is there on my local path, which is on the root directory, the index.html file, to home DevOps mailer. To that directory, I want to copy. Okay, so just imagine there are 10 servers, and on all those 10 servers, I want to copy this file, index.html. Just imagine it's a configuration file which I want to copy. What I can do, Ansible all. So just imagine this is for all the 10 servers. -m, I can make use of copy module. -a is to pass the argument. Then now this will be in inverted commas. Now this is what you're giving as an input. Okay, you're giving the copy module an input that what will be the source, what will be the destination. You're giving as an input. If you're giving as an input, that comes under double inverted comma. Now you can have something like source. What is the source? This is my current directory, so I just have it as index.html because I'm in the same directory. What will be my destination? This will be home DevOps mailer. Okay, this is my destination. Now if you want to know more details, then you can also use a flag called -v. This is basically will give you verbose the complete details what's happening. If you want more in-depth detailing, then you can use 3 V's. So see what exactly happening. It is giving you everything, which is not relevant, guys. If you see this, the detailing it did, the how it has connected, how the call was made, everything. This is for debugging purpose. If you want to do debugging, if your command is failing, if you want to know where exactly your command has failed, at which line it is failing, where the issue is, then this is used for debugging purpose. The important part is, do you see the file got copied over here? From this, the file got copied over here. How do we verify? I can make use of shell module. There is shell. Index.html. Perfect. You want to know more? Use the flag -l for long listing. Perfect. This is what copy module does. So this module is given over here in the documentation, the source module, and you will find destination also. There are so many things. You can change ownership. You can connect to remote source. You can create a directory mode. You can, if you want to change the uh, something related to directory, if you want to make any mode change in directory, you can do it. So these are all the modules. There are more than 1000 modules, guys, which you can go and use it. All the other modules are listed over here. Like if you want, there is file module, command module. This is the command module which we will be using when we start writing playbooks. Okay, so you saw the copy module. Along with copy module, if you want to have a file module, there's a file modules also which you can use it. File module, suppose the files which you have copied, you want to remove ownership permission for your group and others. You just want to keep the read and write for the owner. For others, I want to remove it. Quite possible. Suppose you're copying a shell script. Imagine using Ansible, you're copying some shell script to your target machine. And with shell script copied, you need to give executable permissions. Will you go and log in manually and give executable permission? Surely no, correct? You want Ansible to do, go and give executable permissions also. So how will you do it? You can make use of file module, Ansible. Let me do one thing. Let me use alias. Every time I'm writing Ansible and I'm making typo. Let me verify if it is working. Okay, so I'll just, in place of Ansible, I just write A now, because so many times I'm writing A all. Now what module I want to use? -m file module. Now with file module, what I want to do? Let me pass in the argument. I want to go and change the permission for index.html file which we have copied. Index.html. Now I want to change the mode to 600. Now what is 600, guys? Anyone? This is something we did it during Linux. What is 600? What permission it would be?
Is that read access for the owner?
Read, only read.
Read write.
Perfect. So this is only this will be read write permission for the owner. That's correct. Only for the owner. All other permissions will be removed. Perfect. Changed. 600. Verify. How do we? I can do a ls -l and I can verify. Modules I need to change to shell. I can also use command module. Command modules also does the same thing, guys. Okay. Now do you see read write? You can also go and change the ownership and the group. If you want to change the ownership and the group, even that is possible. I don't have any other user, but let me see if I can change it to root. If you want to change this ownership and this group to root, even that is possible. Okay, so even that is possible with the file module itself. Let me, okay, this looks good. Now in this, let me add the ownership. So it is owner equals to root, group equals to root. So what I am doing, I'm changing ownership and things to, plus I have added operation not permitted. It is not letting me, permission denied. Now this is why not permitted. For changing ownership, what exactly we are running? The chown command is running. Chown is stand for change ownership. Till now it was working perfectly because we were not running administrative commands. Okay. Now this time, because I was the owner of the file, I had no issues. Now because I'm changing from DevOps mailer to root, now this is an administrative command which I'm running. Now for administrative command, you need to have sudo privileges, correct? Root privileges for running administrative commands. Now because I don't have root privileges, I'm not able to do this. How do I give Ansible root privileges so that it can go and run this command for me? For doing that, you need to go and use -b. What is the command you need to go and use? -b. -b basically, it's not a command, it's a flag. It will give escalated permissions. What it will give? It will give you escalated permission and it will let you run the command. -b, small b, B for Bravo. And now you can go and execute this command. Looks good. I was able to execute my command. -b for escalated permission. Become as root. That means become as root. So this was about file module. There are n number of other modules which I can talk about. Now, if you want to create a directory, you can make use of file module itself. Let me clear this. All. Now we want to use what directory? So file module -a. You can, where you want to create the directory, you can again give the input as destination. Wherever you want to create, like let's create it in home, DevOps mailer. Let's give it a name to your directory. What directory name you want to give? Just give it as ansible test.dir. So that's the name of the directory which I'm giving. Now, if you want to give any permission, if you want to define any mode or anything as such, you can define the mode over here. You want to give any ownership, you can give the ownership also, ownership and group also. The only thing is the additional part is state. So in the state, you need to mention that it's a directory. In the state, you need to mention that it's a directory which you're creating. Ansible will understand, okay, this is a directory, and it will go and create the directory for you. See, with this mode, just because we have not mentioned the group and the owner, it took the DevOps mailer which we have mentioned inside the Ansible host file. Okay. Now this is all what state and everything. If you go into the files module, and if you come to the file segment, manage files and file properties, you can come to this segment. You can see this mode, how I'm defining the mode. It's mentioned how you mention the modes. See the ownership which we were using. The path, how do we define the path? Do you see the state? What are the different states we can use? Absent, if you want to delete this, directory, file, hard, if you want to create a hard link, touch. All these are supported. Touch if you want to create a file, as simple as that. So state, these are the states which you can use it. Okay, state directory. Awesome. Okay, so this is the file module. There are n number of things, guys, so it's not possible to cover all the modules for you. These are some very frequently used modules which you will come across, such as shell module, copy module, file module, package module, setup module, command module, and these are the modules you'll be using inside your playbook also. So whatever commands I'm executing today, guys, the same set of commands I'll be using to write playbooks in the declarative way. I'll show you the command which you're executing, how this command will fit inside your playbook. That is something we'll see tomorrow. But today, let me show you one more module, that is package module. Now, if you want to define any packages, like install any packages, like I'm repeating myself about Apache for so long. Let's just imagine if you want to install Apache on your target machines. How will you install Apache? I'm talking about ad hoc. I'm not talking about the playbook. So how do we install Apache? That is my question. So there is a module called apt, because this is Ubuntu. That's why it is apt. This is your package manager. If it is CentOS or Fedora, then it is yum. Okay. If it is Ubuntu machine, then it is apt. -a, what arguments do you want to pass? So if you want to define, like suppose on Ubuntu machine, if you want to install Apache, what is the command you will execute? The command is something like this: apt install Apache 2. Correct? This is the command which you will execute. Now let me execute the same command using Ansible. Ansible all -m apt -a. Now under double inverted commas, I'll put in the package name Apache 2. Same thing. Okay. Along with, there is a state present. There are multiple states: present, absent, hold. So present is basically make sure that the package is installed and available on your target machines. Understood? Wow. I got a lot of error. Now the error is basically permission denied. Problem unlinking. So this is basically, if you go and install something on your machine, you will need sudo privileges. Correct? Without sudo privileges, can you do anything? So the answer is no. So always -b for escalated permissions. Now it will go and install what? Install Apache for me. Let's wait while it is installing. Perfect. How do we verify? As I'm on the local host, I can run it, guys. Or if I want to do it through Ansible, I can do that also. systemctl status Apache 2 active and running. Perfect. See, Apache install. If you want to go and access the web page of Apache, the default page, Apache 1.2 default page up. Okay, now remember we had some index file created. Can I put this index file into this welcome to Ansible into my Apache? Correct. We know copy now. Correct. We can copy. Where exactly? What is the default location of Apache? Where www.html. Correct. That is the where the index file is kept. Apache. Can I replace it with my index file? Definitely we can do it. Correct. Ansible all -m. What is the module? Copy module. -a. Where is the source? Where is my file kept? Index. This is there on my current path. Where do I want to keep this file now? I want to keep this file into where www html. Here I want to keep it. Now let me use -b because this is a config file which I'm changing. Done. I've copied the file where www html. How do we verify? There's the page. Refresh. Welcome to Ansible course. You have installed a web server using Ansible. You have made configuration changes onto that web server using Ansible ad hoc commands. Now, the disadvantage of using ad hoc command, it's very easy to use. You can do whatever you want from your management node. But as soon as I log out from this terminal, there will be no proof that what commands I have executed. As if now I'm logged in, then you can see the history and you can know what all commands I've executed. But as soon as I exit out of this command, there will be no proof what have I done. Okay. Now, if you want to delete this Apache, the only thing you need to do is change the state to absent. This will go and remove the packages, Apache packages for you. See, removing Apache. Okay, so this is how you will be working with. Okay, there is one more module for gathering facts. If you want to have your target machine facts, if you want to fetch, then you can do this by using the module setup. This will give you information related to your machine. See all this information. If you want to gather facts, this is all the information which is getting right now. Okay. Now, what all modules we have covered? We have covered copy module, file module. We have covered shell module, package module, gathering fact modules. These are the list of modules which we have covered. Tomorrow, this is more from the ad hoc commands, guys. Tomorrow, make sure go through this documentation. There are 1000 plus modules which is supported by Ansible right now. Okay, so file modules has so many ACLs, ISO, find, the find command which you run, archive, temp file, stats, network module. You got cloud module, like if you want to do something on EC2 instance, if you want to do something on Azure, all those are possible. Like Amazon, what all things you can do on Amazon using this ad hoc commands and using playbooks. Now, if you want to do something on Azure, see Azure modules, like if you want to manage AKS cluster using Ansible, possible. Ansible is also provisioning tool, correct? That is what we say. So this is how you can provision, manage services on cloud using these modules. Now, if you want to go with AKS, like what all things you can do with AKS, see this. Add profile, add user, monitoring, virtual node, so many things you can do. Okay. Now we'll take this Ansible to the next level tomorrow, wherein we'll understand what is playbooks are, and we'll understand two topics, playbooks and Ansible roles. Okay, and we'll see how do we define variables and everything in tomorrow's session. Okay, if possible, if time permits, then we will see how do we integrate Ansible with Azure DevOps. That is something we'll see tomorrow. So that's it for me. Once you're done with the session, make sure delete the complete resource group, delete the VM, and save some money. That's it for me. Anyone has any question, any doubt, please do let me know, or else we can wind up the call for today. Anyone? Josh, Ken, Kenneth, Nirupa, Sunil. What's this T initial? What's your full name?
Ade Oye Aotesu. I need to change that so it reflects my correct name.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Any question, Victoria, Sunil? This will require practice, guys. Definitely requires practice. Lot of practice. I'll be sharing whatever commands I've executed, guys. I'll create a note and I'll be shared with you guys. So don't worry. So you can go through the notes. You can copy paste. Initially, you can do a copy paste, but make sure you do it by yourself. Try different ad hoc commands and come up with questions. Okay. Thank you very much. If there's
Question.
anything, you can let me know. Yeah.
Quick question. Are you going to be covering Ansible Vault keys?
Key vault. Okay. So
Key
Ansible
vault.
key. Yeah. Ansible key vault. That's where Ansible Cloud comes in picture. That's altogether a different topic. As if not, that's not in the plan. I've added Azure DevOps integration with Ansible. Let's see if time permits. I can definitely do it because there are a lot of other tools are pending right now. So, but yeah, surely good suggestion. Surely I'll try and get it added if possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. No problem. Yeah.
Sorry, if we can't use the Ansible keys, can we just use Azure Key Vault instead? So like,
Why not? Why not? We can integrate Azure Key Vault also. So that is where you need to have the service principal created so that your VM. I think I've not covered this part where VM. Okay, I'll cover this part doing AKS. When we do AKS and ACR, at that time I'll show you how do we create service principal from your VM. So once you have the service principal created, you can have your vault key fetched using Ansible. So all the ways are possible. You can use Azure vaults. You can also use Ansible vaults for storing your credentials. Okay, both are possible. Both the ways are possible. I'll show you integration of how do we create service principal and all from the VM when we do Kubernetes. At that time I'll show you, because at that time we'll be fetching images from ACR. ACR is nothing but a container registry. So at that time we need to create the service principal from VM. The same thing can be used for vault service also, but the only thing is the permission. We need to have vault permission given for reading the passwords from there. So everything is possible. Both the ways are possible. If you're using Azure Key Vault in your company, definitely you'll stick with Azure Key Vault only. You will not add additional layer of Ansible Vault. But if you're using Ansible Vault, you will stick with Ansible Vault. So depending upon what type of project you're working, both the integration are possible. But good. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Let's meet up tomorrow and cover playbooks and Ansible roles. Okay. Bye bye.